Hello students, I am Dr. S.R. Dandavte. I welcome you to the third video on semiconductor physics. In the present and upcoming video, we will be talking about Hall effect. In the present video, we will focus on some basic aspects about Hall effect. At the end of this lecture, learners will be able to understand basic concept of Hall effect and Hall coefficient. So starting with Hall effect definition, if a specimen of metal or semiconductor carrying current I is placed in magnetic field acting perpendicular to the direction of current, and EMF is induced in a specimen along a direction perpendicular to both current and magnetic field. So this is the phenomenon of Hall effect. By supposing that you are performing the experiment in laboratory and that Hall effect apparatus is with you. So first of all you will focus on what? A specimen. You need to have a specimen. So which specimen you will take? Either of metal or semiconductor. So here we have a specimen. So this specimen will be provided with some known dimensions, that is length L, width W and thickness T. So this specimen is now under consideration. So if the specimen is of metal, it will have charge carriers as electrons. We know in previous videos we have seen that electrons are the charge carriers in case of metals. But if it is semiconductor, then which type of semiconductor it is? Either intrinsic or extrinsic. Accordingly, it will have the charge carriers. If it is intrinsic semiconductor, then the number of electrons and holes will be same. But if it is p-type semiconductor, then it will have more holes, means majority charge carriers will be holes. And in case of n-type of semiconductor, electrons will act as majority charge carriers. Okay, so we have considered one specimen. Now the next requirement is the specimen is carrying current I. Specimen should carry some current. Now tell me, if we just consider a specimen, will it automatically carry current? No. The specimen should be placed in electric field. That means it should be connected with some external electric circuit. So here we have that. Let V be the voltage applied externally to the specimen. This surface is connected to battery's positive terminal and this end is connected to battery's negative terminal. Okay. So because of this, there will be I as current flowing through the specimen. The meaning is the charge carriers. For a while assume that it is intrinsic semiconductor. So it will have electrons and holes both as charge carriers. So electrons, all the electrons present in the specimen will be drifted towards battery's positive terminal and holes will be attracted towards battery's negative terminal, and this way this indicates the direction of the current. Okay, so these charge carriers are freely moving throughout the specimen. Now the next step, when such a specimen carrying current I is placed in magnetic field. But how should be the magnetic field? Magnetic field should act perpendicular to the direction of current. Now which direction of current is considered? Say this is X direction. Now let us imagine that along Y direction we have applied magnetic field. This application of magnetic field consideration is very simple. We assume here one pole and at the bottom of the specimen another pole. Now as it is thought that magnetic field is directed in upward direction, that means we are indirectly assuming that here it is north pole and at the top of the specimen it is south pole, so that from north to south we get the direction of magnetic field. Under such a situation, for specimen carrying current I and now under the action of this transverse magnetic field, what happens? An EMF is generated in a specimen along a direction which is perpendicular to both, that is the direction of current as well as magnetic field. Now for current and magnetic field directions have been fixed. This third direction is left, Z direction. So it is obvious that along this Z direction we will get development of EMF. Now it is more important to understand how this EMF is induced. Okay, so let us imagine the specimen in the absence of magnetic field. So as I told you earlier that when the current is flowing through the specimen, it means that throughout the specimen these mobile charge carriers are moving, free charge carriers are moving, that is electrons and holes. But as soon as When we switch on this magnetic field, some force is exerted on the charge carriers due to it, and the direction of the force is this Z direction, and due to that the charge carriers experience the force and they are depleted. That means the charge carriers are deviated. One type of charge will be deviated and will be accumulated on one surface, and on its opposite surface opposite type of charge will be accumulated. For example, here I have considered that this front surface is F, and on this front surface, due to that Lorentz force due to magnetic field is called as Lorentz force. So due to that Lorentz force, these holes are accumulated on this surface F, whereas electrons are accumulated on surface F dash, rear surface. Though we are saying that the charges are accumulated, it does not mean that the charges are stationary on these two surfaces. The charges are still in motion. That means holes are moving from this end to this end and are reaching to battery's negative terminal, whereas electrons are moving from this end to this end and are reaching to battery's positive terminal. But initially the charge carriers were moving throughout the specimen. Now the charge carriers are moving parallel to the surface F and F dash only. That means across these two surfaces the charge carriers are moving. It means that the surfaces F and F dash now shows the development of excess positive charge and negative charge respectively. This is important to understand. Initially, this specimen was neutral in nature when there was no magnetic field. But when we put on this magnetic field, these charges are getting accumulated, and hence there is net positive charge on surface F and net negative charge on surface F dash. That is, across these surfaces F and F dash, some potential difference is developed. That is what? EMF. So as these two surfaces are separated by a distance W, when we divide this potential difference by the distance, it will give us corresponding electric field. Now we can measure this potential difference, that is voltage, by connecting wires along it, along the surfaces F and F dash as shown in figure. So the voltage measured over here is called as Hall voltage, that is VH. Value of this VH depends upon the values of current as well as magnetic field. That can be mathematically proved, and experimentally also it is well observable. If we increase one of the two, then VH is increased. So this is the concept of Hall effect. Now Hall coefficient is defined as reciprocal of product of concentration of charge carriers and charge. Concentration of charge carriers, it is denoted by N. As already it has been discussed that if it is metal, charge carriers are electrons. If it is semiconductor, the charge carriers may be electrons, and holes number will be different depending upon the type of semiconductor. But in general, if we denote charge carriers by concentration of charge carriers by N, then N into E, where E stands for charge of charge carriers. Then this product and its reciprocal, if taken, then it defines the Hall coefficient. So RH is equal to plus or minus 1 upon Ne. This plus or minus sign is due to the type of charge carriers. Particularly, if it is P-type semiconductor, we will have plus 1 upon Ne. And if it is N-type of semiconductor, due to negative charge on electrons, it is minus 1 upon Ne. So this is one of the application of Hall effect, that we can distinguish between P-type and N-type just by knowing whether RH value is positive or negative. Okay. With the help of axis also we can express it. The same can be well understood with the help of Fleming's left hand rule. So along X direction it is current, along Y direction it is magnetic field, then the direction which is perpendicular to both is Z direction, along which we get the voltage, Hall voltage developed or induced electric field. This is Lorentz force. See here in the diagram, along this Z direction we get the Lorentz force, which is there due to magnetic field. So this concept will be developed in the form of mathematics. Some mathematical expressions will be discussed in the upcoming video. So in next video we will discuss about the expression and derivation of Hall voltage and Hall coefficient, followed by applications of Hall effect. Thank you.